So to start doing our project, we're gonna need the power source, which for Raspberry Pi it's gonna be a USB Type-C cord with an adapter. The Raspberry Pi, it doesn't matter which version. This is a version 4 model B, and also we're gonna need a micro SD, at least 4 gigabytes, mine is 8, an adapter, and a card reader, so I can connect it to my Mac. But you can have Mac or Windows, it doesn't matter. So let's go and switch to our screen. So we're right now connected to our computer. We switched back to computer, and we have connected the card right here. Next thing would be to go to Raspberry Pi website. So it's going to be raspberrypi.org, and go to software right here. So now we're in software. So we have here, if you would scroll down, we have the option for macOS, Windows, or Linux. So we're gonna go with macOS. In my case, I'm gonna save it. Yes. Okay, open it. How are we gonna install it? Oh, I have it already, but that's fine. I'll have the new version. So right now, you're gonna push Command space and type Raspberry Pi. Right here, you're gonna have this message pop up, open, and here you go. We have the installer. So right now, we're gonna choose. Actually, first thing, we're gonna go and format our SD card. So just push erase like this. Choose the SD card. Make sure you choose the right card. I know this is mine because it's only 8 gigabytes and I don't have any other media devices connected. So I'm gonna choose this one, right. So it's gonna tell me that it's gonna erase everything from it. So I'll give it a few minutes or moments for it to format it. So you can see right now it's done. Next thing, we're gonna go up and choose Raspberry Pi OS, the 32-bit version. Again, choose the media storage. It's our SD card right here. You can see it here, SD card, and push right. It's gonna tell you again that it's gonna erase everything. Yes, and it's gonna ask for your password. And now it's gonna take like probably 5-10 minutes to install it, all depending on your machine, and also it's gonna depend on your internet service provider speed. The image, the operating system of weights around, I think 1.5 gigabytes or something like that. So just make sure you have a good internet connection. So I'm gonna forward this video so you don't have to wait with me all this time, and come back when it's done. So we're back. You can see write successful. You can now remove the SD card. You can push yes or OK. Close this one. You'll have to take out the SD card and put it back. So we inserted back the SD card back into our computer. Now we're gonna open the editor. Okay. New document, and then format. Don't write anything in the document, just make a plain text, and close it and save it as SSH, just like this. Just save it. You're gonna see it's SSH, but we're gonna click right and come over here and delete the txt extension and just leave it like SSH. Remove. Yep. So right now it's a empty file, and drop it inside. So next step, take the SD card out and put it in your Raspberry Pi. So now we connected the Raspberry Pi to the back of the router, and now we gonna log in our router. I know my IP address, but you should check your IP address on the back of the router, and there should be a password and a username. So in my case, I'm gonna go to 192.168.01, log in, and here I am. I'm in my router, and I'm gonna go to wired clients, because this is it. So my Raspberry Pi address is 192.168.0.102. So this is the local IP address. Next thing, I'm gonna open terminal by pushing command space and put terminal, and we're gonna go and connect to the Raspberry Pi by putting SSH pi at 192.168.0.102. Enter. Yes. Password is Raspberry, RASPBERRY. Nothing is gonna show up here, but it's actually typing. So enter. So right now we are in our Raspberry. You can see it right here, logged in as Pi, and this is the Raspberry. Now you're gonna type sudo and then raspi-config, and now you have connected to the Raspberry configuration, and we're gonna go to interface option and activate the VNC, the P3. Would like to enable the server? Yes. VNC server enabled. Okay. So you also want to connect it to your Wi-Fi. If you want your Raspberry Pi to be wireless, then you can go here to S1, choose US, or in my case United States, wireless LAN country set to US. Okay. And then the name of your Wi-Fi, make sure it's correct. Mine is this one. Enter. Password. Enter. And connect it. Go display options. Resolution. So D1. And choose a higher one. Let's say this one. Okay. Now we can basically go out and finish and reboot the system. Yes. And just give it a few minutes to reboot, and by that time we can go online again and Google for Mac, in my case, or Linux. So this is the site, and download it. Terminal and type VNC and start it up. You're gonna type here 192.168.0.102. Enter. So by default the password is pi, and the password is Raspberry. I'm gonna show you. So this is by default the password. Okay, and here you go. You're connected to your Raspberry Pi. Now it's gonna ask you how to set it up. Next. I'm not gonna change the password right now, but you can change it. You can change it later on. Next. We're already connected. You can see these two lines that were connected already. Next. Update software. Next. And I would recommend updating it. So I'll forward all this and come back when it's ready. Took about 10 minutes or so to update, so the system is up to date. I'm not gonna restart right now, later. First we have to give our Raspberry Pi a static IP address, so when we restart we have same IP address. If you want to use it for some apps, like in our case I want to use it with cups. To make it easier, we're gonna open two terminals, and one we're gonna put sudo nano space etc at dhcpcd.conf and push enter, and on this one we're gonna put ifconfig. Okay, so we did this one, so we know our IP address. So you can see here Ethernet, it's 1.2. So we're gonna go to this one and go down, and you can see at the end we have this example. So we're gonna delete this right here, this one too, make the change here, and change it to your IP address. So it's 192.168.0.1.0.2. We're not gonna use IP6. Now we're gonna use the static router. So my router is at this address, 192.168.0.1. You can see by going right here, this is my router address. So that's good. Static domain name, it's gonna be the same as the router right here, and we're not gonna use all that stuff. I'm gonna delete all this. Just like that. So we're gonna put interface VLAN 0, like here. Where's right here? VLAN 0, and the IP address is gonna be 101. So we're gonna copy this one, static IP address, static IP address is 192.168.0.1.1/24. Static router is 192.168.0.1. Oops. And static domain name server is 192.168.0.1. So this is how you're gonna leave it. To exit and save this one, we're gonna push Control X, you can see it right here, and then Y to save it. So now it's saved, and we're gonna go here, shut down, reboot. So it's back. Now we're gonna go to terminal and make sure we set it up correctly. So ifconfig, and make sure it's the same IP address. So 102 for Ethernet and it's 192.101. So everything's right. Clear.